A few weeks ago, someone hit my van. It was parked outside my house. A girl came whizzing down the road on her bike and straight into the rear light on the driver's side, causing damage to the paintwork and putting dents above it as well. Thankfully, the girl was okay, but whilst going through the arduous process of getting it fixed and getting it paid for, I thought to myself, if this was to happen again, it would be really nice to have some evidence of the incident. Maybe I should look into getting a dash cam. Now, it's definitely impractical to film all angles of the van at all times, but it'd be really nice to have a dash cam record a potential incident. I had a pretty extensive list of specifications that I wanted from a dash cam, including GPS, dual cameras so I'm covered from the front and the back, as well as a parking mode so that I'm covered when I'm not in the van. After doing a lot of research, I reached out to Nextbase and they very kindly sent me their 622GW model, as well as a few awesome extras that I can't wait to show you. The 622GW is a 4K dashcam that's packed with innovative, practical and useful features for keeping you safe while driving. But before we get into the features, let's go through the dashcam, what you get in the box and what I'll be featuring in this video. So let's get stuck into the dashcam, and when you open the box, you'll find a very nice looking camera with a matte grey plastic finish. It has a large ultra-wide 140-degree lens with an aperture of f1.3 and a built-in polarising filter. The panel with the logo on is just a bit of card covering where the windscreen mount will sit, and below that is a speaker. On the side next to the lens is the power button at the top, and below that is the microSD card slot. On the back is a nice big 3-inch touchscreen. The red button below is the protect button, which when pressed immediately protects the current file so it can't be lost. Either side of the protect button are microphones, and on the left of the screen are two LEDs which show when the dashcam is charging or recording. On the other side is the rear camera input. On the top is a USB mini B port, and on the bottom is a reset button and a light sensor. So that's the dashcam itself, but what else comes in the box? Well, there's a window sticker, a quick start guide and a help card. Then there's the magnetic click and go windscreen mount, which has a power input and a removable base with a 3M sticky pad on the bottom. Up next is a short USB-A to mini B cable for charging the camera prior to use, as there's a small battery in the dashcam to allow the parking mode to activate when the vehicle isn't on. And then there's the 4 meter long 12 volt to USB mini B cable which powers the dashcam from the vehicle whilst it's running. There's also a spare base and 3M sticky pad in case you want to use the dashcam between two vehicles, and lastly a spudger to help with cable tidying. That'll come in use later. So let's get this dashcam up and running. I'll start by inserting a microSD card, and then I can remove the insert on the front to reveal the magnet and connectors for attaching the click and go windscreen mount. It finds its way in very easily and is a really strong hold. In fact, it was actually quite difficult to pull it out again. First thing is to charge the dashcam for at least 2 hours before first use. I've already done this, so I'm all ready to go. Although it has a built-in battery, I'm plugging it in by the USB mini B port on the top. As I understand it, this USB port is for main charging and connecting to a computer, and the port on the windscreen mount is for powering the dashcam via the vehicle. The dashcam immediately starts up with the Nextbase logo, and we can begin the setup. Choose your language, location, speed units, time and date, and then it's time to link the dashcam to your phone if you wish to. As you can see from the screen, it has Amazon's Alexa built in and an Emergency SOS feature, which supports you and your family if you have an accident but can't call for help. But I'll go into that in more detail later, so keep watching. You're able to view your dashcam videos quickly, edit and crop them, and automatically sync them to your phone in the event of a collision, as well as utilising Alexa and the Emergency SOS mode. You can also upload the files to the Nextbase cloud, free for all Series 2 dashcam users, and your files are stored for 30 days. After a couple of minutes of initial setup, I can now live view the dashcam through my phone. Pretty cool. In addition to the main dashcam, Nextbase also provided 2 rear-facing cameras to try out. The first is this nifty cabin view camera. Simply plug it into the port on the side of the dashcam, and you can film all the goings-on in the cab as you drive. Perfect for taxis and rideshare drivers, but also an awesome, easy way to capture your next road trip. The only thing to bear in mind is that as the port is on the right of the dashcam, if you're looking at the touchscreen, then if you have the dashcam installed behind the rearview mirror, the cabin view may get blocked. That said, a bit of careful repositioning of the camera on the windscreen should take care of that. The next option, and the one which suits my own needs perfectly, is the wired rearview camera. Ideal for protecting the end of the vehicle you don't often look at. It's a small, unobtrusive camera with a 140-degree ultra-wide viewing angle that films in full HD. It features a really practical magnetic mount onto its base, which again utilises a 3M sticky pad, and swivels to nearly any angle, perfect for all kinds of car setups. It comes with a 6-metre cable for connecting the front dashcam with the back of the vehicle. As you'll have noticed, I have a van and it has rear barn doors, so sticking a dashcam to one of the rear windows wouldn't be very practical, as the wire would get pulled a lot when the doors open. This wouldn't be a problem for standard boots or trunks for my viewers from across the pond, so I've decided to stick the rear view camera on the top corner of my floating table unit, so it can see out of one of the windows onto the road at all times. And if you're interested in how I made anything you've seen in the van, be sure to check out the rest of my channel, where I've got the full van build as well as tons of other content about vans and conversions. Nextbase also have a third innovative rear camera option which, given the door situation just mentioned, wouldn't be as suitable for me: a rear view camera. Almost identical to the cabin view camera, this instead has a 30-degree telephoto lens which views directly from the cab out the back window. A perfectly simple solution for anyone wanting to avoid dealing with extra wires. Those are all the options for a Nextbase dashcam setup, so let's get installing the cameras in the van. The first step is to clean the glass and then think about where the dashcam is to go. You may have noticed that I've removed the rear view mirror, and this is just so I can film the dashcam install a bit better. I want the dashcam to be fairly central, but low enough to be within the region that the windscreen wipers reach on the glass, so that visibility isn't obscured on rainy days. After finalising the location, I can remove the 3M sticker cover and firmly place it on the windscreen, applying a bit of pressure so it sticks well. I can then attach the dashcam to the click and go mount and plug it in, and we have a functioning dashcam. One of the really cool features of the dashcam which can now be sorted is reducing glare on the camera. As I mentioned earlier, this dashcam has a built-in polarising filter on the front of the lens which, when turned, completely eliminates any glare or reflections on the windscreen. Amazing! As the power will be coming from the 12-volt port, which on my van is between the front seats near the floor, I'm going to route the cable around the windscreen and down the door frame on the passenger side so as to avoid the driver's pedals. The first step is to get the cable up into the headliner. I remove the sun visor, as pushing the cable above its mounting point will help stop the wire falling from the headliner. I then pass the wire along into the door frame. Panels like this are generally just firmly clipped in and come away with a tug, but if you're not sure, go gentle or ask someone who knows what they're doing. The door frame trim already has wires running underneath it, so I tried my best to get this wire running along with them. Working my way down, I tucked the wire away wherever I could until I reached the start of the floor. I could then tuck the wire behind the carpet in the footwell, working my way around until I made it to the 12-volt port. Once plugged in, any excess wire can be tucked into the trim for a really neat look. I replaced the main door trim, and that's the wire for the main dashcam dealt with. Now to set up the rear dashcam. I started once again by removing the sun visor and feeding the wire above it. I then removed the door frame trim and replaced the sun visor to keep the wire where I wanted it. I then fed the wire down towards the floor and this time removed the panels at the bottom of the door frame and fed them under there. I could then work them back further under the carpet by the driver's seat before replacing all the trim. Into the back of the van, I popped up the side door frame trim just enough to wiggle the wire underneath and got the wire into my wheel arch storage box. I could then feed the wire up to my floating table unit, to the top shelf and then along to the back door. Once there, I could connect the rear camera and think about positioning. With the highly adaptable magnetic mount, I settled on a position that I can see out of the small rear window nicely, whilst hiding the wire behind the table. I should point out that the camera is actually upside down here, and that's just because I have an unusual setup in my van. It'll be easy to mount it up the correct way in a car, and that's just a testament to the flexibility of the design. Once stuck on, I went back and hid the rest of the wire behind the table unit and in the storage chest. Like the main dashcam, the rear camera has a really nice design and is also very discreet, tucked away in the corner of the table unit. So that's the cameras installed and I'm ready to hit record. So let's now have a look at the all-important video quality. The options for the 622GW are 4K at 30 frames per second, 2K at 60 frames per second, 2K at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 120 frames per second, 1080p at 60 frames per second, or 1080p at 30 frames per second. It's a lot to choose from, but I suspect I'll stick with the 4K as you get that bit of extra resolution, or 1080p at 60 frames per second to capture more detail in the video by slowing it down. And filming an incident in super slow motion at 120 frames per second could be very useful. I have to say I'm very impressed with the quality of all the footage, and this footage seems to have a certain clarity and sharpness to it, making number plates and signs very clear. The image stabilization option is really good and does a great job of stabilizing the footage. It's worth noting that when stabilization is on, 2K video at 60 frames per second and 1080p video at 120 frames per second will no longer be an option, and the stabilization will only work on the main dashcam and not any rear ones. And lastly, here's footage in 4K at night, and footage from the rear view camera at day and at night. If, like me, you're interested in what other features there are and what all the settings do, keep watching as I'll explain all, because so far I've only shown the tip of the iceberg. By pressing the cog, you're taken to the menu, and we'll start by diving into the video settings, and the first option is to adjust the resolution and frame rate you film in. You can then adjust your exposure to suit your recording environment and choose how long you want your video clips to be. If I choose 1 minute, then the recording of my 15-minute car journey will be recorded as 15 1-minute clips. That way, files can easily be overwritten by the camera when the memory card is full. Next is audio, and you can choose whether to record audio with the built-in microphones from inside the vehicle whilst the dashcam records. Moving on to the next screen, you can set whether you want time, speed, GPS, or dashcam model stamps to appear on your videos. All really useful data to have recorded. The dual files setting creates 2 clips, one large and one small, which can be easier for transferring files around whilst retaining the higher quality file for when you need it. You can also film time lapses with the camera. This is not recommended for normal driving conditions, however it can be a really fun way to record part of your car journey. You can input your number plate to show on the video too, and adjust the G sensor sensitivity, i.e. how much force is needed before the dashcam registers an incident. The extreme weather mode is an interesting feature which, quote, is able to more accurately record in foggy and misty conditions. I haven't tested this yet, but I'm keen to when the British weather inevitably presents an opportunity. Next, you can set a screensaver, and I quite like the option of having the current speed showing, though just setting it to on will turn the screen off after 30 seconds. You have the option to turn alert sounds on and off, as well as adjusting how many clips are stored. Turning on minimum keeps just 4 unprotected 1-minute video clips at any one time. The parking mode is a really interesting feature and one that was high on my list. With it on, the dashcam enters standby mode when the vehicle is parked, relying on its built-in battery, but if movement is detected, the camera records 45 seconds of protected video. If no further movement is detected, the camera returns to standby mode. And it's really effective. Here's me triggering the parking mode whilst washing the van the other day. On the next screen, you can adjust the language of the camera to one of a number of options, select or change your location, select your time zone, and change the time and date. It's worth noting here that the built-in GPS automatically picks up the date and time for you. Next is the speed units, device sounds, screen dimming, and auto power off, which, when turned on, keeps the camera recording for 30 seconds if the unit loses power. On the final screen, you'll find the option to keep user settings or not after an update, the system info, how to format the SD card, and how to revert to default settings. Phew, that was a lot, but we're not done just yet. Tap driver assistance on the main menu and you'll have the option of setting up Emergency SOS, a reversing camera, and what 3 words. Emergency SOS is done through the app and essentially automatically connects you to the nearest ambulance service in the event of an accident. How? According to Nextbase, if your dashcam detects a crash, the app monitors key sensors and starts a countdown on your phone. If it's a false alarm, you can stop the countdown, but if you're unable to stop it, say you're unconscious, then emergency services are automatically alerted and can give your medical details as well, if you opt in for this. There are a number of safeguards in place to stop inadvertently calling the emergency services, and it's a pretty cool feature which could save lives. Back with the settings, and the reversing camera option simply flips the image of a plugged-in rearview camera so you can use it while reversing, and what 3 words enables you to instantly pinpoint your exact location to share with others. Another brilliant safety feature. The final menu option is connected apps, and having already connected the Nextbase app, it's time to set up Alexa. Having Alexa built in is a really great feature as you can use the command functions whilst keeping your hands firmly on the wheel. To set this up, you'll need the Alexa app, but first open up the Nextbase app and select Setup Now. Follow the pages and you'll be taken to the Alexa app where you can log in with your Amazon account. Select your settings and before long, you'll have Alexa talking back to you. Alexa, what's the weather doing today?
It's 17 degrees Celsius with cloudy skies.
Back on the home screen, you've got a number of symbols showing what settings you've got switched on at a glance, including GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi and audio. So what are the other options and accessories available for a Nextbase dashcam? Well, first off, there's a neat little carry case, ideal for protecting the dashcam if you use it between different vehicles. And then there's the hardwiring kit, which enables you to power the dashcam from the vehicle battery, freeing up your 12-volt port in the process. This isn't something I'm going to be doing, as the functionalities of the dashcam, coupled with the brilliant parking mode, are ideal for my purposes. So that's a rundown of the Nextbase 622GW and accessories. I've been so impressed with it, and although there's a pretty huge dashcam market out there, in all of my research I've not seen any others which tick as many boxes and provide as much functionality as this one, particularly with the additions of Alexa and the Emergency SOS mode. It really is jam-packed with features to keep the family and car safe, and I'm super excited to use it more when we're out and about to record our adventures in the van. Finally, you may be wondering how much this dashcam will set you back. Well, the 622GW retails at £269 at the time of recording, and whilst that's on the higher side, you are getting a premium dashcam with a ton of features. But if that's too much, Nextbase have a wide range of other dashcams with their standard model starting at just £60. If you're interested in finding out more about Nextbase dashcams, check out the link in the description, and if you've got any questions about the dashcam or my van build, drop them below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching.